we do see everything in lots of clarity, we kind of get bored with our life. Once we get bored with our existence here, we are desperate of a new angle, new perspective. The main hero, he is hanging over the tree and the snake is curling around his legs. He has this sword still here. He can very easily remove himself from that so-called trap, but he is not choosing to do it. He was like a closed system before. Now he wants kind of like open up the circle so that to let the new perspective to come through him. Certain sacrifice is necessary to gain new perception of life. Hello, beautiful souls. So today we will be talking about another mystical card in the Major Arcana set, and that is the Hanged Man. One of the most interesting cards because it starts the descension to hell, right? That's why most of us here, when we start working with our tarot decks, whatever the deck you are currently using, we are actually afraid of all these set of cards which are being followed after the Hanged Man. And this is the set of cards. It's the Hanged Man, Death, and Temperance. It's a beautiful card, but then we go to Devil and to the Tower. But even here, God, the universe, gives us a beautiful stability, right, in the card of Temperance. Anyway, we'll get back to it later. Today we are talking about the Hanged Man. So in the previous sessions, we've been talking to you about the fact that each and every card in the Major Arcana set, it just prepares us to the next card and the next card and the next, and we already can foresee what will be next, and that's very, very interesting. The previous card to the Hanged Man was the Justice, and I told you in one of those videos which are related to the Justice card that when we do see everything in lots of clarity, we kind of get bored with our life. We do what is required to be done, but the thing is we naturally go to that boredom perspective, and we want it or not, we naturally move to the card the Hanged Man. So once we get bored with our existence here, we are kind of desperate of a new angle, new perspective, and then we turn ourselves upside down like 180 degrees so that to see the new situation or just the same situation from the new angle, from the new perspective. Let's have a look in details at this card. The main hero, he is hanging over the tree and the snake is curling around his legs, but he's not bothered by it. He is in ultimate deep contemplation. He is in patience. His eyes are closed, but at the same time his third eye is widely open. If you can see, when we master this card, the Justice, then you can see that her third eye is mastered, and that quality is transmitted to the next card, the Hanged Man, as well. So even if his eyes are closed, he has still that alertness within him. He sees it all, even being in that relinquishment of control. So he is loosening the sense of control, although he has it. Look at it. He has this sword still here. He can very easily remove himself from that so-called trap, but he is not choosing to do it. He's choosing just to relinquish control per his will, and that's the defining point here. Per his will, he's choosing to hang over the tree with his feet just being crossed over the tree here, although he has the necessary tool to release him from that. It just shows me very clearly that he chooses to hang like this and to contemplate something. We can see that type of sparks around his head. It means he has certain realizations, and behind him is the sign of time. It seems like he's beyond time already. He's not really bothered by time aspect. He's mastering that time aspect. He's not really conquered by time, and why it is important to see it that way from time aspect. Now, the second law of thermodynamics claims that when we are stuck in a certain circle, whatever the circle is, the deterioration happens in that circle, meaning aging is happening there. Now, what this guy is doing intentionally, if you see this card right now, he tries to break down the circle. That's what he's doing. He tries to find the way to break down the circle and just to open it up like a vessel so that something would come through him. He was like a closed system before. Now He wants kind of like open up the circle so that to let the new perspective to come through him. And these already are the parts of that circle, the parts of that circle. So he's hanging down with his head, as you can see in here, in the card, allowing the new perspectives to come through him. Now, quite interesting observation which visited me not so long ago. If we look at his head, his like arms, if we just perceive it in the correct way, it will be like triangle. And his legs, they are crossed in a form of a cross, right? So look, the head is in here, and then we see two spots here for his arms like this. So it is like the representation of the alchemic sign of water, right? But then there is this cross, and this cross and the triangle, if we look at it from the alchemic perspective, this one, you can just type it in internet. Don't trust what Julia says. Just always check it through Google. This is the alchemic symbol for sulfur. And sulfur represents everything about dryness, masculinity, desire, something like this. And it's the predicament of descending down to hell. So when we turn it down, it's like descending to hell. And that card already shows us that very soon this guy will go through some hell experience, right? So that's how he invites that experience into his life, literally by creating that antenna through his body and doing it willingly in order to find some new perspective, some new meaning in his existence, okay? He's going through that willingly. Does it remind you the story of Jesus in the Bible? So Jesus actually descended in hell, descended there. He went through hell with all this crucifixion and everything before his ascension. And he went through that obviously in his pure utter will. We cannot say that it was against his will if we look at it in a more attentive way, because he was doing so many miracles. If this guy was doing those miracles, how in the whole world he could be caught, right? By just physical power here. So it just shows that the guy willingly decided to go through certain way of crucifixion in order to gain certain experiences, right? It's some kind of bringing yourself to sacrifice, that the certain sacrifice is necessary to gain new perception of life, right? And here we also can see that he's in utter balance at the same time, and it represents also the letter T. It's it's the beginning of truth. He's in seek of new truth, of new way of existence within his reality. He's breaking the cycle of all what was working for him willingly in order to see further. And then we can see this eye, all-seeing eye in his heart center, because he wants to see the truth. And he's inviting all these transformation in the form of death card, which naturally follows the hand man.